stuff
I'm
like
going to
that.
get bad news. I want it from him because he's very handsome. Dr. Irwin Redlenner joins us now. MSNBC medical expert. Dr. Irwin Redlenner.
Here he became Dr. Doom.
Dr. Irwin Redlenner is the founding director of the National Center for Disaster Preparedness and senior research scholar.
Dr. Doom.
Oh, hi, Dr. Redlenner. Hi, good morning.
Hello, Miss Stephanie. How are you?
I'm okay. Speaking of the FDA and pills, I loved your piece. You wrote for The Hill, the 4 poison pills Republicans are swallowing voluntarily. And you just said, I'm optimistic that right-wing extremists, autocrats, and anti-science election deniers may have gone too far and will pay the price in 24. I don't think you're being hyperbolic or, happy clappy, as I'm accused of being. What am I accused of being? Selling hopium.
Yes.
But I think that's true. It's not just what's happening in, Wisconsin and Tennessee. I think they have overstepped and you can only look at this polling for so long, right, and see how out of step they are with most Americans, right?
It's amazing to me that the polls are saying something to the Republicans. Basically, you got to change your ways. Americans don't agree with you. They want access to appropriate reproductive and medical care for women. They want it. Men and women want it.
Yeah.
They want you to enact, you legislators, appropriate gun control. They don't think Americans should be carrying around assault rifles in shopping malls or even owning them.
Yeah.
They don't want you to remain fixed like super glue to the person of Donald Trump. And they don't want this racist nonsense that we just witnessed in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
So I don't understand, Steph. What are they reading that contradicts these points that I just said?
Yeah.
Or do they have a death wish where they just are basically giving it up? They're going to fight like hell until November 24.
Yeah.
And that'll be the end of it.
This is I think we're torn as liberals because this is horrible for people, their policies, but I guess great for us politically. But, as you and I always talk about, how many people are going to die in the meantime? I mean, you put the poison pill number 1, takedown of Roe v. Wade. You said what was an example of a short-term gleeful victory for the right, but has also created a hugely empowered oppositional power from the left, of course, but really across the political spectrum, consisting of a growing army of women who are rightly terrified and infuriating to have their reproductive rights shredded by extremists, joined by men also in disbelief this actually happened. Poison pill number 2, as you just said, the Republican hard gun advocates apparently don't read public opinion polls or maybe just want to stick to their guns, quote unquote, even if it costs them elections. You broke down some numbers there. The majority of Republican lawmakers seem oblivious to the fact that their failure to act has created a massive counter movement among the country's youth. What we're seeing in Tennessee, right?
Yeah, so I guess they're having their heyday now, the extremists. I guess they're backslapping and congratulating one another on these short-term victories. And a lot of these guys, they're not like IQ dumb. They've gone to big schools. They're lawyers. They have PhDs or their law degrees. Yet they still seem oblivious to what the polls are clearly telling them over and over again. Like you said, this will probably be great outcome for progressives and liberals in November of 2024. But I'm not so sure it's great for America to have a political party completely crumble because we need that debate. We need a debate among people with different opinions, and all that's fine. And we should tolerate that and prevail based on our ideas, not because the Republicans have become automaton robots following Donald Trump and these stupid extremist ideas. Yeah. So in the long term, I want them to recover enough to be rational, if that's even possible.
Yeah. Well, this is what brought you to poison pill number 3, the high risk and I would say weirdly inexplicable fixation on the persona of Donald J. Trump as a leader and moral North Star among a vast majority of Republican politicians. It's truly amazing. What are we actually doing here? The seeming cowardice of grown men and women who appear to be totally intimidated by a now indicted ex-president, the first of its kind, with obvious autocratic leanings. And you just said, how long do Republican leaders think that the overwhelming majority of American mainstream will tolerate Trump and his followers forever? Don't count on it. I mean, and there's already evidence of that. I think we were just talking about this, though, Doc, that as much as we want to say, oh, this is great, tie yourself to Trump, but we have this PTSD from him getting elected, and you're thinking, oh, God, could there be the right combination of factors again with Russia and somebody doing third party and for this nightmare to continue, right?
The guy, Trump, has such moral inadequacies, ethical inadequacies. And here he is, beloved by a huge number of Republicans. But the thing that's so shocking to me, Steph, is that the so-called grown-up Republicans in the Senate, in the House, in state houses, seem oblivious to these enormous, gigantic shortcomings of Donald Trump, and they don't speak out. This shocked the hell out of me. The other things, so they're gun extremists and whatever, but how not to have a revolt among Republican senators against Donald Trump?
Yeah.
It's really amazing.
Well, and I think the last one you said, poison pill 4, is what I was saying. Remember, we were told last time that's not going to be an issue. It absolutely was an issue in the midterms. And you said in the most egregious anti-American trend since the 30s, Republican-controlled state governments are seeking ways to undermine the voting rights of non-white citizens. Desperate to suppress Democratic votes, they're reviving or creating ways to make it more difficult for minority constituents, especially black and poor Americans, to cast a vote. Younger people. And we saw what the result of that was in Tennessee. So I think you're right. Those 4 factors are really going to make a difference in 24. Don't you think?
I think so. They've created an army of people who are now literally revolting against these revolting policies that they seem to be proliferating among the Republican political class. And I think they're going to pay a price. And I don't think there's enough time to actually reverse any of them. So they'll be carrying these anchors around their necks when people walk into the polls in November, first Tuesday in November of 2024. And I'm optimistic. I'm not usually optimistic, which is why you call me Dr. Doom. And I stick to my guns. I will be that voice. But on the other hand, I can't help but be encouraged by the fact that the political stupidity from the Republican Party now is going to help really reverse a lot of these situations that we're dealing with.
Yeah. Doc, speaking of the, intergenerational stuff that's happening, that was a weird chance thing that happened with your friend, Joan Baez. You said an absolutely incredible chance encounter of legendary singer, artist, social activist Joan Baez and young Nashville civil rights leader Justin Jones. The fight for justice in America will never end until MLK's dream is fulfilled. They ran into each other, but I just thought that picture alone was so powerful.
It was actually amazing, and how do you explain that other than some kind of weird destiny or coincidence? But they really hit it off, and he recognized her, and she, of course, recognized him. They embraced in an airport, waiting for a plane, and broke into this song. And what a moment, actually,
Yeah, amazing. I loved someone tweeted you and said, thank you for the follow, Dr. Redlenner. Most importantly, your voice during the entire COVID pandemic. The information you provided, especially in the very early days, was invaluable and I know helped save countless lives. Thank you for your service. And you just said, thanks, Sam. I'm very happy to be in a position to help people get through a very difficult and frightening time, which, by the way, is not really over, especially for older folks and those with serious underlying medical conditions. Be well. I'm wearing my Team Moderna, my Funky Cold Moderna, because remember our vaccine rap wars.
Oh yeah.
You of course also Team Moderna.
Yes.
But I was saying I have this Grey's Anatomy addiction, and so now I've hit season 17 where COVID hits, and it reminded me, Doc, it was the episodes are so well done, but it took you back to the horror that this really was, that you and I, talked about it. It's amazing. I'm sure we have PTSD from that too, about how bad it really was. And it makes me, I keep saying the word re-angry. It makes me re-angry all over again at Donald Trump and his whole,
I like that.
And his whole,
re-angry.
But I mean, it's just the one we've talked about. Should there be a negligent homicide case against him as well? It's just how many lives have been estimated were lost because of him and his administration's incompetence, and or deliberate, right? Remember the whole screw it, it's only the blue states?
Do I remember? Yeah. No, I dream about it. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think the future is looking up. I must say that. And I think your viewers and all of us should not despair. I think we're going to fix a lot of these problems eventually, and we're going to get the right people making decisions on our behalf. And I look at my grandchildren and my kids, and I'm thinking, this needs to happen, and it will happen in November of 24.
Yeah. And Doc, by the way, just to your point again about it's not over, my girlfriend has asthma and allergies, and I got, a little sick something. Thank God I tested negative for COVID. She just tested negative yesterday. But I got sick, and she got very sick because she's got underlying stuff, and she's never had COVID. But it strikes you that, like as you said, it's not over, particularly for people that are immune compromised in any way or older. It is terrifying, the thought of that. She had to go to the doctor yesterday because
a very good friend of mine, who's 80, got deathly ill. I mean, dangerously ill.
Yeah.
And he was in a place with no access to a decent hospital. And I'm telling you, I was on the phone with him constantly, and the doctors that he was able to get, but it is not over. And it's so strange because it feels like it's over.
Yeah.
I guess we desperately want it to be over, but we got to face reality that it actually isn't. And the reminder here is for people, even if you've gotten boosted, if you are older, if you have pre-existing conditions, you may have to get boosted every 6 months with the bivalent COVID vaccine.
Yeah.
And it's worth doing.
Okay.
I mean, if
and
you're
I still wear a mask in indoor settings anywhere.
I can get my next shot in May.
Okay. Yeah. No, exactly. Doc, thanks for fighting the good fight. And that piece was fantastic about the poison pills. We linked to it at StephanieMiller.com, etc. Okay, we'll see.
Thank you so much, guys. Be well.
See you next week. All right.
And I mean that.
Mwah. 19 minutes after the hour. This portion of the show brought to you by